Unmute this mic real quick. Welcome to another episode of the James Nolan podcast, where you know what we already talk about, a lot of New York sports. Going to be getting into some baseball news right off the bat, starting off with the Yankees. Going to be starting off with Anthony Volpe. Can he become an all-star in 2024 for his second season? Gold Glove in year one. Batting average needs to improve, but he did hit over 20 home runs as a shortstop, which is very hard to do when you're a shortstop in the major leagues, especially when you're a young guy coming from New York and replacing Derek Jeter. Going to be also talking about Blake Snell. He's still available. Can he be that guy for the Yankees, the second Cy Young in that staff? We're also going to be talking about Carlos Rodon. Can he have a bounce-back year? The Mets, they're interested in Justin Turner, according to Jon Morosi. But I wrote another piece about that on Fansided. You can go check that out. Links in the description. So go check that out. Give it a click if you want. Wandy Peralta, another article I wrote about yesterday. Reports suggesting that he is on the Mets' radar. So we'll see. The bullpen needs to improve. Edwin Diaz is great, and I'm loving loving that he's going to be back for us, and I know what he can do for us in 2024. He was the MVP for 2022 when we had over 100 wins, but we still need someone to get him the ball. It can't be Adam Ottavino every night. He's 38 years old. I love that signing, but we need more. We need more. Wandy Peralta could be more. Another left-hander to join Brooks Raley in the bullpen. We're going to be talking about that later as well. Going to be talking about the whole entire pitching staff as a whole again. Kodai Senga, but mostly Luis Severino. Can he have a bounce-back year for the Mets? And we're also going to be talking some Knicks. Julius Randle. Woj came out today, said it's weeks, not months. Thank God. Randle having a very good year, but the Knicks, 4 replacements. We're going to be going over who those guys could be at the power forward spot. One being already on the team in OG Anunoby, which is looking like tonight he'll be playing the 4. Jalen Brunson averaging over 27 a night in the last 25 games. All-star snub. Going to be talking about that as well. Knicks, 4th place right now. They're playing great. I believe they're 29-17 right now. They're playing amazing. Playing amazing. 4th in the Eastern Conference. Going to be talking about if they could be a contender to win the East. And yes, Giants and Jets, we're going to sneak those guys in too. We're going to be going over awards combined for them. MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Most Improved, Comeback Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and the most exciting run of the year for football. But let's get it going right away with some Yankees talk. Can Anthony Volpe be an all-star? In 2023, hit 209. 21 home runs, though, which was nice to see, and 60 RBIs, and he captured the Gold Glove defensively. So defensively, I mean, the Gold Glove tells you and shows you that he can do it. He can be there. He can be the everyday shortstop for the Yankees in 2024. But the batting average needs to improve. And if it does improve, which I think it will in year 2, I think we're going to see some adjustments. We saw in the second half of the year, Volpe actually did decently well. Much better in the first half. He was I believe he was in the hundreds in the first half of the year. The 209 batting average doesn't look pretty, though. It does not look pretty. Home run numbers are nice, especially for a shortstop that's a rookie. In year 2, Volpe, if he hits 25-plus home runs and he can hit 260-plus, I think that's a great year for Volpe. And I think that's what an all-star shortstop does. I think they hit 25-plus home runs, and I think they hit above 260, 270. And I think that will get him an all-star nod. So what I'm saying is, yes, we're talking about a lineup that has Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Anthony Rizzo, Giancarlo Stanton. Where does Anthony Volpe fit in that lineup? Either 9th or at the top of the batting order, leading off. So he's probably going to start the year off batting 9th. And that's good. That's good. That's not bad. Because what you want is him restarting that lineup, the speed at the bottom of the order. If he gets on, then you got the top of the order up. It's basically like a second leadoff hitter. But if he wants to be an X factor for the Yankees in 2024, he's going to need to improve that batting average. Because if he hits 209 in his second year, the Yankees are going to get a replacement. But the 21 home runs in his rookie year as a 20-year-old, that shows you the potential that he has. That's what you want to see, 21 home runs. But that can increase if the batting average increases. So from what we want to see out of Volpe is just more consistency because we know it's there. Yankees fans know that Volpe has all-star in him, but he just needs to do it on a consistent basis. He's only 21 now, only 21 years old, so it's a lot of expectations on such a young guy, but at the same time, he's that talented. He's that talented. It's year 2 now. He's a professional. He's not a minor leaguer anymore. He's not a rookie anymore. This is year 2. Yanks are going for it. They're really pushing for it. He cannot be the one not pulling the weight, because if he's not pulling his weight, they're going to find a replacement. But I think Volpe will step it up based off of all the guys in that lineup that are veterans, that are going to help him, that are going to mentor him, and that could show him the way on how to put together that talent on a consistent basis. Defensively, he's already there. He's already one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball. I mean, he got the Gold Glove just last year. But to be the best overall shortstop, to be one of the best overall shortstops, which I think he could be, he's going to need to bring up that batting average. And that's about it. Because the power's there, the defense is there. We just need to see the consistency. Less strikeouts, less flailing at balls out of the zone, and put the bat on the ball in clutch spots. That's what we want to see out of Volpe, and I think that's what the Yankees fans think, that if Volpe does that, it makes that team that much better, because you already know you're going to get big time out of Soto. You know, if Judge stays healthy, which I think he will, you're going to get big numbers out of him. Rizzo stays healthy. Even if he doesn't stay healthy half of the year, you're going to get decent numbers out of him. Stanton, who knows? He's a huge question mark. DJ LeMahieu, if he stays healthy, you're going to get production out of him. The lineup is stacked, top to bottom. But the one guy in that lineup that's a question mark, that either could be off, like not on the team come trade deadline, or an X factor, that's Anthony Volpe. He's the wild card, I think, in that lineup going into 2024. Because he could become another all-star in the lineup. Or he could just be a good defensive shortstop. But if you get the production on a consistent basis that we've seen, then Volpe will be that X factor for the Yankees. Another X factor. Joining Judge, joining Soto. And that's what the Yankees think. I mean, that's what Cashman believes in him highly. So we'll see. We'll see what Volpe can do. Obviously, over 20 home runs as a rookie shortstop is something. So, I mean, I think we're underrating him a little bit. But John Heyman came out the other day and suggested that Judge and Cole do want Blake Snell. They're going to Cashman and saying, hey, go get us this guy. Reigning Cy Young, 14-9 last year, 2.25 ERA, over 230 strikeouts. Captured his second Cy Young in his career. Snell is one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. You get him, you'd have the best rotation in baseball. Cole, Snell, Rodon, Nestor Cortez. You could slide whoever you want in there at 5, whether it's Clark Schmidt, who am I missing out? Marcus Stroman. Like, you could get the 6-man rotation going. You could do whatever you want. Blake Snell and Garrett Cole, 2 Cy Young starters at the front end of your rotation with the lineup of Soto, Judge, Rizzo. You got Stanton in there, Volpe if he takes that step forward. You're talking about one of the best teams in the American League, maybe the best team in the American League. The bullpen is already loaded. They got over like 5 guys who had sub-3 ERAs last year in that bullpen. They had the best bullpen in the major leagues last year. Bullpen's great. Lineup's great. Rotation's great. You get Snell in there, that rotation's elite. And that's what would put the Yankees over the top. They're gunning for that World Series. Brian Cashman is going all in. Since he traded for Soto, he's indicated that the Yankees are going for that 28th World Series title this year. Not 2025, not 2026, not 2027. He's not focusing on long-term success like the Mets are. No, he's focusing on, I got Aaron Judge, I got Garrett Cole, I got Juan Soto. We got to go all in. Going all in, got to get Snell. He was going all in on Yamamoto, offered him $300 million. Didn't want to go over Garrett Cole's numbers, but it is what it is. But Snell, Yamamoto, 25, yeah, he's intriguing. But Snell, he's already done it in the big leagues. He's already done it. He's already got 2 Cy Youngs. He just did it last year. Not even a year ago. Struck out over 230 batters. Snell to the Yankees would make them the best team in the American League. Cole, Snell, Stroman, Cortez, Rodon, Schmidt, if you want to make it a 6-man rotation. That's elite. Best bullpen in the league. That lineup is ridiculously stacked. However you want to put it together. When you got Soto and Judge in the same lineup, and then you got Rizzo and Stanton, and then maybe Volpe, who are going to give you 25-plus home runs each. It's a lot of home runs. And the pitching is already good. They don't need Snell. It's not like they need Snell. But if they get Snell, it makes them undoubtedly the best team on paper. And I know on paper isn't the best term, but the Yankees 2 years ago, we were talking about them as one of the best teams on paper. And what did they do in the first half? They absolutely tore it up. And quite frankly, I think they would have made the playoffs last year if Judge stayed healthy all year. Now we're talking about Garrett Cole, the best pitcher in baseball. Aaron Judge, the best player in baseball. Juan Soto, probably a top 5 hitter in baseball. You add another top 5 at their position because he's a top 5 pitcher. Blake Snell is a top 5 pitcher. You add another one of those, another superstar in that team. How are you not taking them as favorites to win the AL? How are you not? It's clear cut. Brian Cashman wants to win the World Series. And he might want to win the World Series this year because, let's be quite frankly, it's Boone and Cashman. They're running out of excuses. So if they don't win this year, Boone's probably gone. And Cashman might be gone. Even though he just got that extension. Doesn't mean squat. Yankees fans it's their voice that matters. And if they don't want Cashman and they don't want Boone, which they don't, they're going to be gone. They're going to want him if they win that World Series, obviously, but they got to do it. They're running out of excuses. Snell would get them, it would make them a lock for the postseason at least. But in my eyes, I think they would be the best team in the American League. And I will predict that the Yankees will win the American League if they go out there and they sign Blake Snell. Cashman's really going after it. He's really going after it because there's another report, Mark Feinsand. However I say his name, I'm not sure. I don't mean to butcher your name, but dude. But Yankees might sign Cody Bellinger, apparently. Or they're in on him. Now, I'm not going to take that report too crazy. Because quite frankly, I don't think they need Cody Bellinger, just like they don't need Snell. But I think Snell's a better fit, considering you already have a stacked outfield. And you just clog up the DH. But, hey, why not? He's young. He's coming off a great year. Former MVP. In 2023, he hit 307, 26 home runs, 97 RBIs. If I'm the Yankees, I'm looking at it and saying, I don't need him. But if he's not getting offers out there and nobody wants him and he wants to come here, why not? Maybe give him a short-term deal. He took a 1-year deal just a year ago with the Cubs, had a great year. Maybe he just needs that one more year to get that big contract. And if the Yankees are down for it, go do it. I was just talking just a few minutes ago about how stacked that lineup is. Imagine now you add Bellinger to that. That gives you what? Bellinger, Volpe, Rizzo, and Stanton, all guys that can hit 25-plus home runs. Judge can hit probably 40 to 50. Soto, he's going to give you 30 to 40. That's a lot of home runs. And how do you win games? You score runs. The Yankees would win a lot of games if they get Cody Bellinger in that lineup. It would be ridiculous. They would be right up there with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, if I'm the Yankees and you really want to go for it, if I was Cashman, I'll get Bellinger and Snell. Screw it. Why not? Dodgers are building up a super team. Why can't the Yankees? I know Mets fans would be losing their minds saying, well, Cohen said he was going to be the evil empire. Or evil empire. Cohen wanted to be the evil empire. He never said it. He just said the 3-5 World Series, and it blew everybody out of there. It blew everybody's expectations off the roof. But Yankees, they get Bellinger. They get Snell. They're favorites to win the World Series, just like the Dodgers. Imagine Cole, Snell, Stroman, Rodon, Cortez. Then your lineup, probably LeMahieu leading off. Probably Judge second, Soto. 4, you put Bellinger. Probably Stanton after him. Rizzo after him. 7, 8, 9, you can go catcher probably. 8, who do you want to go with 8? Anybody. Really anybody. And then 9, you're putting Volpe at 9. That lineup's loaded. And they, like I already said, they have the best bullpen in the major leagues. They need like a legitimate closer, but overall wise, they have a really good bullpen. Yankees, I don't think they're going to get Bellinger, but I do think they're going to get Snell. But if they do get both, I think a lot of people will start taking them as potential winners of the World Series in 2024, not just the Dodgers. All right, another Jon Morosi report. Mets interested in Justin Turner. Wrote an article about it a few hours ago. Go check it out on fansided.com. Go to fansided.com/Mets if you really want to get right to the article. Justin Turner, though, coming off a good year with the Red Sox, 276, 23 home runs, 96 RBIs. Put up good numbers, 15 years overall. I believe he's played in over 100 games since 2015, outside of 2020, because shortened year, obviously. But he's durable. He can hit the ball. He's got over a 360 on-base percentage over a 15-year career. So he gets on base, and he hits. And he's got some pop. Mets are handing out 1 to 2 year deals, these low-risk deals. They need a DH. They need a third baseman. They need a guy to mentor Baty and Vientos. Now, listen, before we get into guys to mentor, I'm not saying Lindor, Alonso, or Nimmo can't be captains, blah, blah, blah. That's been a big deal. Who's the captain? Who's the captain? Justin Turner's not going to come in and be the captain, but he could be a mentor to those guys because he's played third base for 15 years now. And he could also be the team's DH because he can hit. 276, 23 home runs, 96 RBIs just a year ago. He's old, but he can hit. Give him a 1 to 2 year deal. Make him your DH or your third baseman. I would make him the DH, third baseman, whatever you want to do, and have a little platoon thing going on with Baty and Vientos. That's what I would do because I don't trust Baty or Vientos too much just yet, but some fans do, and we're going to have to because one of those guys is probably going to be in the lineup on opening day. But if Justin Turner's in that lineup opening day, that's a wild card-like lineup. That's a guy that can offer protection to Turner. Turner's a guy who can offer protection to Lindor and Alonso. So, yeah, Justin Turner, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I don't think we're going to go out there and get Jorge Soler anymore. I don't think we're going to go out there and get JD Martinez. But Justin Turner, guy who was a former Met, guy who's been rumored to be on the Mets radar all offseason long. Even last offseason he was. Yeah, I'm for it. I'm for Justin Turner. He gets on base, and he drives in runs, and he's durable. And he could be a mentor to the young guys for Vientos and Baty. Should we trust him? I don't know. Quite frankly, I wouldn't. They both stunk in the last 25 games. Vientos had like a 208 batting average, and Baty in his last 25 games, he had under a 200 batting average. So in my opinion, I don't want any of those guys in the lineup. And I don't think they will be in the lineup come the end of the year. If they are, great. I hope they do great, obviously, but I just don't think they are great. So no, I don't think the Mets should trust Baty and Vientos, but quite frankly, we're going to have to. Because like I said, one of those guys will end up being in the Mets lineup on opening day. Mets wanted to trade for Corbin Burns, but apparently at the trade deadline. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? If we're winning and we're going for it, I'm all for it. Corbin Burns, Shane Bieber, whoever you want to get at the trade deadline. The Mets do need pitching. Yes, they do need pitching. Sean Manaea, I'm excited for him, especially after his last 15 starts in 2023, 2.98 ERA. I'm excited for Luis Severino potentially bouncing back if he can stay healthy. He is a good pitcher. I won't lie there. It's only a one-year deal. It's a low-risk move. But we still do need more if this team is in a playoff position come the deadline. And if Corbin Burnes is available at the deadline and the Mets are in a playoff spot, you bet your asses David Stearns will trade for Corbin Burnes. So that's all I'll say on that end. If that report is true, yeah, I'm all for it too. We're going to take a quick break here. I'm going to get into some Knicks talk after wrapping up this baseball talk. You got Woj, who reported that Randle missing weeks, not month. We're going to get into that. Knicks adjustments without Randle. Going to get in some guys that could replace him at that power forward spot for the next few games. Jalen Brunson, in his last 25 games, he's been going off. Knicks, could they be contenders? Going to be going over that. And then Jets and Giants combined season awards. And then, Royal Rumble was 2 nights ago. Cody Rhodes back-to-back. Going to be wrapping it up with WWE talk. Oh, yeah, wrestling, baby. We the boys. All right, Knicks talk in just a second. Going to take a break. Enjoy this quick video of the Jets and why they should go get Gardner Minshew as their backup quarterback this offseason. But the Jets need a backup quarterback in 2024. Gardner Minshew will be available. Gardner Minshew is the guy that they should get. Gardner Minshew actually almost got the Colts into the playoffs. Yes, he had a little debacle at the end of the year, but it's not all on him. One, he's 27 years old, so he can move around a little bit. He's not going to be like a Tim Boyle or a Trevor Siemian, a guy who's going to be just standing there. And also, he had a 62.2 completion percentage, 3,300 yards in 2023, 15 passing touchdowns, and how many interceptions? Let's see. Only 9, 15-9. So if Aaron Rodgers does go down with an injury and it was Gardner Minshew who stepped in, you'd be a lot more confident than a lot of the other backup options. Ideally, it would be Mike White, but that's not happening. He signed a 2-year deal. He's going to be with Miami. Gardner Minshew is the guy that the Jets should go out there and get as their backup. Now, there are other options. They could go get Sam Darnold, another former Jets quarterback who will be available in free agency. There are other backup options, and they could always go out there and draft a future guy, maybe in the second or the third round. But what I think that they should do, and I think the best move, the best backup that will be available in the offseason in free agency is Gardner Minshew. He almost took the Colts to the playoffs, and it was a Colts team that nobody really expected to do anything. They got 9 wins, and Minshew was the starter. Over 3,300 yards. He had a winning record. You put Minshew with this defense and an offense with potentially Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Xavier Gibson, you get an actual offensive line. Minshew he will be able to win you games, is what I'm saying. So the Jets need a backup. Minshew's going to need a team. He probably wants to win because he's a winner. You go get him, and you make him your backup. And he's a good locker room guy, too. All right, we're back. Let's get into this Knicks talk. They got a game tonight. Charlotte Hornets right now. They're at -9.5. 9.5 point spread favorite over the Charlotte Hornets on the road. Yeah, but they got no more Julius Randle for at least a few weeks. Woj reported that his dislocated shoulder will only keep him out for weeks, not months. That's good. That is good, obviously, because Randall's having a great year. I feel like he's finally getting that respect that he's earned. He's a 2-time All-NBA player, and without this dislocated shoulder, I think he was on his way to being a 3-time All-NBA player for the Knicks. This year, he's averaging 24 a game flat, 5 assists per game, 9.2 rebounds per game. He's also shooting 47% from the field, 31% from 3. Randle having a good year, but we need somebody to take over the reins for Randle at that power forward spot. Tonight, I believe it's going to be OG Anunoby with Quentin Grimes taking over his spot at the 3. So the Knicks are shorthanded tonight, but there's some rumors circulating right now that they could be in on some guys. Let's go over 4 guys that they could potentially get exterior from the Knicks, and 1 interior for the Knicks. So 3 guys exterior, 1 guy's interior. And yes, that one guy is Jacob Toppin, who I don't want to be. But Bruce Brown Jr. is the guy that the Knicks have been linked to all, like, for the past month, I feel like. Bruce Brown Jr., go get him. Go get him. One, he could be that guy off the bench when Randle does come back. And two, he could be the guy that could pick up the load for Randle at least for a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to score 24 a night, but he could pick up the load a little bit because, quite frankly, it's not Randle's team, as great as Randle is. And like I said before, he was on his way to being a 3-time All-NBA player with the Knicks. But at the same time, this is Jalen Brunson's team. And the Knicks can still win without Randle because Jalen Brunson is good. They still got Thibodeau as their head coach, who's actually, I think, an underrated head coach. I mean, rebounding-wise, this team is great. Defensively, this team is great. They move the ball. Yes, they do. They're fourth in the East. They're fourth in the East without, like, Jalen Brunson. Is he a superstar? Yeah, we do think he's a superstar, but he's became a superstar under Tibbs. So let's stop underrating Tibbs as a head coach. He's a good head coach. We're talking about this Knicks team as Eastern Conference contenders with Tibbs. So let's stop saying that this guy isn't a good coach. But yes, let's back to the talk. Who can they get to? What adjustments can they make? Bruce Brown, go get him. Yes, I do think Toronto, he's with the Raptors right now. 11.8 points this year, 4.9 rebounds, 2.8 assists, shooting 487% from the floor. I like that idea. I like the idea. Harrison Barnes, he's with the Sacramento Kings right now. He's another good option. He's been with the Kings for a long, long time now. But he's another good option I think that the Knicks could look at. He just had a career high the other night, dropped 39 points. I think he made 7 3-pointers. So I do like the Harrison Barnes option. Just like Bruce Brown, he could step in, be a starter for a bit until Randle comes back. And even when Randle comes back, he's still effective off the bench because the Knicks have a need on the bench. They do. They need a bench player. Kelly Olynyk, he's with the Utah Jazz right now. He's another guy that I think, listen, is he flashy? No, not at all. But he's a good player. He's averaging 8.2 points per game right now, 5.1 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and he's only doing it in 20 minutes per night. So I think Olynyk could be another option for the Knicks to take over a little bit of Randle's workload. Now, listen, like I said about the other two guys, he's not going to come in and drop 24 a night just like Julius Randle, but we just need someone for a little bit to take over the starting power forward role. And then when Randle comes back, go to the bench and be a 6th man, 7th man, 8th man, something, because the Knicks bench needs more, especially with Quentin Grimes now stepping into the starting role probably tonight. But yes, Knicks need a replacement for Randle, but they still got Jalen Brunson. Last 25 games, 7th in scoring in the NBA with 27.9 a night, 7.2 assists per game. This guy is everything that we hoped for and more. Now, I thought we would get maybe a semi-star, all-star player out of Brunson. This guy is more than that. He should have been an all-star starter. He got snubbed from that. He's going to be an all-star for the first time in his career this year. But he's a superstar. Jalen Brunson is undoubtedly a superstar. He's putting the Knicks on his back. He's the best player on a very good team right now. A team that people are talking about that can actually make the Eastern Conference Finals. A team that Stephen A. Smith is actually starting to get behind. And I know he's a fake Knicks fan, but when he's talking highly about the Knicks, that's when you know the Knicks are actually really good. And the Knicks, they're in a spot where they could make the Eastern Conference Finals because they are that good. When you look at their numbers this year, like I said, Tibbs, great head coach. So this is kind of going to revolve around him a little bit too. But 3-point field goals, they're 10th in the league. 3-point field goal percentage, 10th in the league. Top 10 right there in that category. Rebounds, 3rd best rebounding team in the NBA. 3rd best offensive rebounding team in the NBA as well. So, yeah, they're that good. Defensive rating, 8th. Offensive rating, 8th. True shooting percentage, that needs to improve. Assist, that needs to improve, 29th. But they can score, and they can rebound, and they can play defense. And that's basically the name of the game in basketball. Put the ball in the basket, make rebounds. Yeah, that's about it. So, Knicks, do I think that they can be in the Eastern Conference Finals come the end of the year? Yeah, I do. I really, really do. We got a comment right here. What's up, Hector? Happy birthday, by the way, my man. Brunson might be the driver. By the way, before I get into Hector's comment real quick, if you haven't already, heard the space last week with Sal Licata, make sure you go check that out. Hector ran a great interview with Sal, had all the guys talking to Sal too. So, heck, shout out to you for that. And also, happy birthday, my man. Brunson might be the driver on this bus, but Randle is the engine. Yes, Randle is 100% the engine. But at the same time, listen, Randle, do we need him for the playoffs? Undoubtedly. But I think the Knicks can, if they lost Brunson, would we be okay? Yeah, we'd be okay with just Randle. But without Randle, I'm still confident that the Knicks can still retain being fourth in the Eastern Conference. Without Brunson, I'm saying, hey, we're taking a dip. I'm preparing for a dip. I'm preparing for a hit. I'm getting the shield ready. I'm getting the barricades ready. And I'm getting ready to take a hit. But losing Randle, I'm like, okay, it sucks. Wipe it off, dust it off the shoulder, and keep pushing forward, because I think this Knicks team with Jalen Brunson is still a top team in the East. Without Jalen Brunson, they're middle of the pack to behind the pack. But with Jalen Brunson, they're in the pack and ahead of the pack. With both, they're a top team in the East. So, yeah, and yes, Hector, love you, my man. Happy birthday. I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, if you haven't checked it out already, he's got it on his Twitter page. Sal Licata in the Twitter space last week. Went well, went awesome. Hopefully he can get it going again, because that was really fun. But yeah, I do agree with that. Randle is definitely the engine. Brunson is the driver. And with them both, they're a top team in the East. With Brunson, I still think they're ahead of the pack in the East. But without Brunson, they're behind the pack. Without Randle, still ahead of the pack, because they got Jalen Brunson. I'm hoping this Knicks team can actually get past the second round into that Eastern Conference Finals. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. If they go out there and make a move for another star this year, awesome. Even if they don't, regardless, they make the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they can legitimately do it. We'll see. Only time will tell. But they got a superstar in Brunson. When Randle comes back, they'll really be cooking, because he's an All-NBA player. He was on his way to being a 3-time All-NBA player. He deserves his credit. He deserves his credit. He's going to go down as one of the best Knicks of all time. As much as some fans might hate to hear that, it's true. But let's get into some New York football. Chiefs Niners during the Super Bowl, great. As much as a lot of people hate Taylor Swift, I'm excited for it, because my girlfriend was watching the game yesterday upstairs. I was watching it downstairs. I always got the games on downstairs, but I came up upstairs and she was watching the game too. And I said, hey, why don't you just calm down and then we'll watch it together? Like, perfect. So there we go. Let's go over these awards. MVP. We're starting it off with Breece Hall. He's getting the MVP award. Why? Because he's the MVP of the Jets and Giants here. Over 1,500 scrimmage yards, coming off a torn ACL, just over 999 rushing, and well over 500 receiving. He can do it both. Breece Hall was the best player in New York football, not named the Buffalo Bills. But Breece Hall was the best player out of the Jets and Giants this year. Rookie of the year, I'm going Deonte Banks. He had a great year. I believe he was like 10th in targets allowed, just because he was locking up those guys all year. So, yeah, good for Deonte Banks. I'm giving him the Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year, Brian Daboll. Nope. Rob Saleh. Nope. It's Jeff Ulbrich. His defense was elite, third in yards allowed out of all the teams in the NFL. That's why Jeff Ulbrich gets my Coach of the Year nod for the New York football teams. Comeback Player of the Year is the guy who got the MVP, Breece Hall. I mean, it only makes sense. He's coming off a torn ACL. He puts up over 1,500 scrimmage yards. Breece Hall is that guy. He's a superstar, just like Jalen Brunson is in New York, and he deserves more credit than he gets already. Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, you got Comeback Player of the Year, and you got MVP, and he plays on the offense, so Breece Hall again. Defensive Player of the Year, going to the Giants, Bobby Okereke. He was a stud, 105 tackles, top 10 for the second consecutive year in tackles with 105 total, 4 forced fumbles, which was first in the entire National Football League. Bobby Okereke was a great signing by Joe Shane, a great piece on that Giants defense. They've needed a linebacker for a while, and they got one in Bobby Okereke. Most exciting run, I'm giving to Tommy DeVito. Obviously, DeVito, he was that guy for the Giants just for a short stint. 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year, 64 completion percentage. DeVito, can he be the backup next season? I mean, if they don't draft a guy, yeah, he's going to have to be. But Super Bowl, that's going to be fun. Super Bowl is going to be fun. We'll talk more Jets and Giants next week. Talked a lot about them last week on the pod, so if you want to hear more about them, go on last week's pod. Chiefs, Niners, Super Bowl. Lamar couldn't get the job done. Hated to see it, but I mean, I don't know how anybody could bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. He is just the best quarterback of all time. And now, I was talking to my buddy about it at work the other day. If Pat Mahomes does get 7 Super Bowls, because Brady beat him in a Super Bowl, are we still regarding Brady as the best ever? And I don't think we can, because Patrick Mahomes, his stats, his numbers, just the way he throws the ball, he is that good. Now, at the end of the day, Brady will probably get the nod if they do both end up with 7, because looking back at it, like I said, Brady won in the Super Bowl, so I guess you got to give it to him. But at the end of the day, man, Mahomes is the best quarterback to ever throw a football. By far. By far. He's beaten the Niners. If you bet against him in the Super Bowl, you're dumb. Everybody's been wanting the Chiefs to fall off just because of Taylor Swift. They are the evil empire now. And I saw my boy Keith, shout out Keith, old co-host of the Mets Evening Brew. Shout out to the Mets Evening Brew, the new Mets Evening Brew now, by the way. But Keith from Shane Sons, my guy. By the way, go check out Shane Sons if you want some good Mets content. But yeah, he said it. I saw a tweet from him earlier today. To be a dynasty, for him to consider you a dynasty, you got to have 3 rings. 3 rings in a short period of time. And Patrick Mahomes is on his way there. 4 out of the last 5 years, he's been in that Super Bowl. 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, he's going to get that dynasty mark. He's going to. It's a lock. It's a lock. He's going to go and keep Dynasty's dynasty book. And yeah, he's that good. He's that good. He is the best quarterback of all time, or at least on his way. Speaking of best of all time, is Travis Kelce the best tight end of all time? Because when you look at his numbers over the course of his career, at all points, he was probably the best tight end in the league. I'm going to pull up his numbers real quick. Travis Kelce this year, 984 yards. So under 1,000 yards for the first time since 2015. But from 2016 to 2022, he put up over 1,000 yards every single year. Over 1,100 yards every single year except 2016. Whew! Travis Kelce's a beast. He's about to be a 3-time champion. So he's going to tie Gronk in the ring category. But he's also got 74 career touchdowns, 11,328 career yards. He is, which is more than Gronk, he's the best tight end of all time. The one thing he needs is that one more ring to pass Gronk in my book, and he's going to get that. Now, Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp is a guy who has 3 rings too, who I think is one of the more underrated tight ends of all time, but he just didn't put up those numbers. Now, yes, he played in a different era when tight ends weren't given the ball or given as much opportunities as they were in today's game. So he's still probably in my top 3, to be honest. I'm going Kelce, Gronk, Shannon Sharp. And that's a hot take for putting Shannon Sharp in there over guys like Tony Gonzalez or Antonio Gates. But, I mean, he's got the rings and he had great numbers. But if I'm going best of all time, I'm going Travis Kelce after he wins his 3rd ring. So, yep, that's that. That wraps up my football talk. Breece Hall, you're the MVP, man. You're the MVP, even though it would be probably 0.0000284% of Breece Hall listening to this pod. But if you're still here, stay tuned because I'm going to get into some wrestling talk to wrap up the pod. Cody Rhodes, 2nd straight Royal Rumble win. Roman versus Rhodes at WrestleMania probably. Gunther needs a new WrestleMania opponent with Brock Lesnar having some allegations. That's not good. That's not good. Vince McMahon's a bad guy. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at Mania. Both of them are hurt probably, though. So they're going to have to do a lot of work on the mic. So that's going to be fun. Going to get into that in just a bit. Going to take a quick break. And we'll get right into that. Watch this video again. Of me talking why Gardner Minshew should be the backup. But the Jets need a backup quarterback in 2024. Gardner Minshew will be available. Gardner Minshew is the guy that they should get. Gardner Minshew actually almost got the Colts into the playoffs. Yes, he had a little debacle at the end of the year, but it's not all on him. One, he's 27 years old, so he can move around a little bit. He's not going to be like a Tim Boyle or a Trevor Siemian, a guy who's going to be just standing there. And also, he had a 62.2 completion percentage, 3,300 yards in 2023, 15 passing touchdowns, and how many interceptions? Let's see. Only 9, 15-9. So if Aaron Rodgers does go down with an injury and it was Gardner Minshew who stepped in, you'd be a lot more confident than a lot of the other backup options. Ideally, it would be Mike White, but that's not happening. He signed a 2-year deal. He's going to be with Miami. Gardner Minshew is the guy that the Jets should go out there and get as their backup. Now, there are other options. They could go get Sam Darnold, another former Jets quarterback who will be available in free agency. There are other backup options, and they could always go out there and draft a future guy, maybe in the second or the third round. But what I think that they should do, and I think the best move, the best backup that will be available in the offseason in free agency is Gardner Minshew. He almost took the Colts to the... Yo, what's up, Yuki? Thanks, my man. I appreciate it. I really do. I really do. I appreciate that support. But yeah, guys, let's get into some wrestling talk. Monday Night Raw is going to be exciting tonight. Cody Rhodes going to be speaking probably. I hope he kicks off the show. I'm not sure what the news is just yet, but 2 Royal Rumbles in a row. First guy to do it since Stone Cold Steve Austin, joining a pretty good list of Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, and who's the other guy? Maybe no, comment it because I'm losing track. But Rhodes, it's going to be fun. I think I was listening to, I was listening to Keith and James last week talking about the Royal Rumble. Keith, Key, and James, they were putting together a good little show, Royal Rumble and Mets talk combined into one, which was pretty cool. They had a little Mets Royal Rumble of their own. But go check that out on the Shane Sons Pod channel on YouTube if you want. But Rhodes, Reigns, Mania Part 2. Rhodes, he's definitely going to win. And then I think it's going to set it up for Reigns, Rock in the Saudi Arabia show. I think that's going to be the show where we see Rock. But Rhodes Reigns is going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. And there's really not much to talk about it there because everybody already knows Rhodes is probably going to finish the story and win and be the face of the company, at least for the time being. And it's pretty good for the WWE because now they got 2 legitimate faces of the company, kind of like how they had that Orton and Cena thing going. They kind of have Rhodes and Reigns kind of taking that over. You know, it was Stone Cold and The Rock. It was Hogan and Hogan and Andre the Giant. And then it was Stone Cold and The Rock. It was always 2. It was Cena and Orton. And now it's looking like it's going to be Rhodes and Reigns. And Seth Rollins too, because we can't leave him out of the equation too. But he's just not a bigger sell, I should say, bigger sell or bigger draw than Reigns and Rhodes. They're just huge draws. But Rollins is still a huge draw, and he's probably going to be facing CM Punk, and CM Punk is probably hurt too, apparently. After the Rumble, he was, I guess he had a fall when he got a DDT with Drew McIntyre. So that sucks, but two guys who are great on the mic, and 2 guys who can work together a good storyline because they have, I guess, personal beef and professional beef. So we'll see how that works out. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great match if both of them have their next matches. I mean, hopefully Punk's next match isn't WrestleMania because he's got a lot of ring rust to work off anyways. But Rollins, I mean, he's an insane athlete, so he's going to put together a historic performance every single night. He's just that good of a wrestler. But it's gonna be a cool storyline. I'm excited for it. Gunther, he needs a new WrestleMania opponent. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but Brock, come on, Brock, be better, man. be better. He's done. Brock's done, as he should be if the stories are true. But Gunter needs a new opponent, and I think it's going to be Braun Breaker. I hope it's Braun Breaker. That would be awesome. I know Keith wants it to be Braun Breaker. But if it's not Braun Breaker, I think another good guy that it could be is, I don't know, man. I don't know. I could see, Braun Breaker, that would just be a good storyline. But if they're trying to push Gunter, like they want to push Gunter and make him a bigger draw than he already is, then he needs to face another big draw. And Braun Breaker isn't a big draw. So who are the options? This is tough. I don't know. If you know the options, comment them. But I'm going to wrap this up. Just going over 45 minutes now. And yeah, I'm done for the day. Knicks playing the Hornets right now. They're in minus 9.5 favorite. So, yeah, Jalen Brunson probably going to go off again. They're playing without Randle. OG probably going to be stepping up and taking over the 4 tonight, which means Grimes. We're going to get a little Quentin Grimes in the starting role again. Yeah. Disney Plus should wrestle Netflix for. Yeah. It's already done. Netflix got them, but that's only Raw, so maybe they got SmackDown. Who knows? Blue brand going to the blue, and then red going to the red. Who knows? Who knows what's on their table? But yeah, thank you guys for all the support. Thank you, Yuki. Thank you, Heck. Thank you guys, and that's gonna wrap up today's pod. Deuces.